Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Anime Alliance podcast brought to you by the Monthly Anime Club. If you are coming from the ether of YouTube and have no idea what that is, go ahead and check in the description. We all come from a club on My Anime List that basically focuses on monthly themes or topics for recommending other people in the club anime. It's pretty cool. If you want to check it out, go ahead. If you don't, that's fine. Don't matter. I'm not hurt. But anyway, today we have myself, Mystifier, or Misty for short.
I am the villain in glasses, Kevin Hamilton.
I'm the very bland otaku Stennis.
I'm your average Australian white boy Vestige.
And I'm the try-harder Winfred.
Awesome. This time around, our topic is more along the lines of happy and heartwarming anime. Basically, makes you smile, lift the spirits, all that jazz. Anything that falls into that category. So, I kind of want to start off with talking about what anime you guys have watched recently, or just something that falls into that category that is a favorite of yours. So, again, why don't we just go down the list? Go ahead and... What about you, Hibbington? Did you watch anything recently that made you particularly happy?
Well, I mean, I like the anime Tanaka-kun that was airing a couple seasons ago. Especially because I think that happiness also comes with personal connection. I think that's something that we all can agree with. And someone that values a good nap is someone that I would want to get along with.
Was that the anime about, like, a guy who is popular but he doesn't notice it? Or was that another one?
I mean, I think he is somewhat popular, but he wants to be listless. But everyone still notices him.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. It took me a little bit to warm up to it. I felt like it had a really slow start, which I guess kind of makes sense given, the main character. But eventually, once the other characters kind of came in, I really enjoyed the heck out of that one. That had a really good cast. And
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have Tanaka on my top 10 characters right now, and he took out Sora from No Game, No Life.
Oh, rip.
As someone who hasn't seen it, how would you recommend it if you were to recommend it?
How would I recommend it? Okay, how many shows have you watched where there's probably only one character in the show that makes the show? You're not going to have that problem with Tanaka. Because the entire cast, even every side character, is worthwhile. And I think that's something that I really do appreciate in a show, is having a very depth class of characters.
I would have liked to see more from their sisters. Their sisters didn't really come into play as much as I would have hoped, but I do agree with you otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Saya could have appeared more. I think she kind of came in really late. Maybe we'll get lucky and get a second season. I don't know.
I would love it, but it certainly doesn't seem like the kind of anime that would probably get one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. What about you, Stennis?
Well, I'm gonna take the first one I saw that I got recommended this month.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I don't really remember the full name, but it was Amaama.
Amaama to Inazuma.
Yeah, so I watched that, and it's about a father and his little girl, and how they learn to cook. Like, that's a short summary of the series. There's actually a fair bit more to it, but I don't want to get in too much detail. So why I like that one really much, and that's because it's like, suppose from the outset it looks like it's just happy, nothing more, and then it just adds emotion in a good way.
Mm-hmm. I was a little let down by the end of it. Not that it was bad, it was just sort of like, it didn't feel very climactic of an ending, but I still liked it quite a bit, mostly because it had the cooking element to it, and I love to cook, so that added a nice little touch that definitely kept me interested in it.
Yeah,
I know you weren't super duper into it though, Hib, right?
No, I was not.
Yeah,
Just episodic
and-
shows just do not work with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there
Yeah,
anything else about it, or was it really just the episodic nature?
It was the episodic nature of it. By episode 8, like I honestly, with the show I watched for the monthly exchange, you're just checked out by then, because you just know the format by then. You know that nothing's gonna change. So especially if you're not exactly liking the show, it's definitely gonna start to linger, and I think that's a big problem.
Yeah, it is an episodic based show. A big part of why a lot of people, like some people like it, would be the main, like the daughter. Considering, like, she's
Oh yeah.
very cute, and that's her main character trait.
Yeah, I mean, I love the shit out of her, but like, I know there are some people that didn't like it simply because they're not big on kids in general.
Yeah, and you have to like kids to really like this anime.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the thing that kept me going, honestly, is because we have, Katori with purple hair and, like, teal eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good combination.
I'm actually gonna jump in on this one because the one I wanted to bring up is in a relatively similar vein, Usagi Drop.
Aha.
It's kind of another parenting style anime, just without so much on the cooking focus. I find it very similar to Amaama, minus the episodic nature. It didn't feel that episodic, maybe a little bit, but basically all the non-cooking elements of Amaama made into a full series. Which I love the shit out of it. I thought the little girl was adorable.
First thing you said is you said that it was episodic. No, I watched a show about 2 years ago, and I do remember there's actually being progression and what have you. But my problem with that show is because the author essentially gave up on the show. That's why we never got a season 2. Because
For Usagi Drop?
yeah, like the author completely just gave up on what she was doing, and
Well, that was probably a good thing because pretty much everyone universally hates the ending of the manga.
well, yeah, but she did that on purpose because she just wanted it to be done with.
But as the anime itself stands, it's a complete story. Like, it doesn't go into the later years of the
Yeah, I
little
mean,
girl, obviously,
but that's the problem, because it just kind of felt like an Act 1 in, like, this whole play that could have been. And that's kind of where my issue with the show is.
So you've seen Usagi Drop then?
Yeah, I saw it about 2 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it could have been better, I suppose. Yeah, it wouldn't have been nice to see more. But for me, at least, I really like... I mean, I love kids. I genuinely love kids, and
Yeah, I love kids too.
kind of, in a way, look forward to being a father myself. So that kind of stuff, even if it's maybe only in Act 1, still resonates well with me.
Yeah, I mean,
You
you,
know,
you
really,
gave
like-
it an 8. I mean, you didn't give it a 10.
Yeah.
So,
I guess it might be... I mean, granted, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I guess that's something that is an easy ticket for me to really be happy and have my heart warmed, is seeing that kind of, like, the story of, a child being raised and a parent coming into their own as a parent.
Pure sweet innocence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like watching kids in anime as well. Maybe not on your level, but it's a nice brightener, I think.
I think when it's done right, it's good. Like, sometimes children in anime can be really annoying. But when they're done right,
do you have an example of a kid being annoying in an anime?
like, not really the child in particular, but I would say there has been different part, like some moe anime that has really, the voices are like too high pitched, like
Okay, so you're talking about, like, just the voice actors more than the actual character.
yeah, the characters are like they're
Okay.
always children.
Yeah,
so
I
they
started a
act
show
like-
recently. It's kind of one of those shows where they have all these historic figures and they turn them into females. and one of the characters, the main character, has a really high-pitched voice, and it's very hard to get invested in the show
What is it
because
called?
of that. So I understand that part.
What is it called?
You're gonna make me have to pronounce things.
Do it.
Sengoku Otome Momo Iro Paradox.
Yeah, whatever.
I think that other than just the voices, I mean, granted, this is partially just a guess because I simply don't relate. But I think a lot of the reason some people hate kids is the crying and the complaining and things like that. So I'm not surprised to hear, like, going back to Amaama, that a lot of people didn't like her because, yeah, she does kind of whine and complain sometimes. But for people that maybe would like the parenting style anime but don't like those kind of kids, I do think Usagi Drop is one to look at because she really doesn't complain often. She's actually pretty, like, grown up and mature mentally in most respects compared to most kids that age, which, you know, maybe is a little unrealistic in certain terms, but I guess, you know, when you actually look at the backstory of her in that anime, it can kind of make sense. She's raised by someone who's much older than a normal parent for the first few years of her life. So, what about you though, Vestige? What do you got?
I have got Amagi Brilliant Park. And the reason I've got that is because it's the most recent show I've watched that's happy and heartwarming, so I thought I'd talk about it, because I remember quite a bit from it. But I think that one of the main reasons I liked it as much as I did was how the main character and the main female character rebounded off each other, and watching them react to decisions that each other made. Sometimes there were, like, internal struggles between them. Usually after the struggle, though, it gets pretty nice and happy and stuff. The other
The drama
character,
doesn't last very long.
Yeah, it's very short-lived. Then the maybe secondary female character, Latifa. They brought her in. It's quite a name. They bring her in at the end of every maybe small arc or small part of the anime where they're deciding what to do with the park, as like a little refresher. She's very rare. I think she's only in like 5 episodes or something like that, and for very short durations of time, considering how a part of the plot she is.
Well, she is considered a main character on Mel.
Yeah. I don't really have too
But-
much to say.
Yeah, but main characters don't really have to be in most of the anime.
And I mean, plus it's also about running like a theme park, right? As far as I know.
Yeah, that's like the...
Yeah, so I imagine like just the nature of that probably, like the setting is pretty, you know, happy.
Yeah, but
I haven't been to many
well,
theme parks. But...
Well, Latifah essentially is like the manager of the park, and she's like... And the thing about why she's not there all the time is because she's guarded in her castle, basically, because that's where she lives. She lives in the castle. So
princess
you
of the
mostly will see
castle.
the managers in Kane and Sento when it comes to that show.
Did you remember those names? Or did you look them up?
Well, of course. I mean, you cannot forget Senya Kanye because it's like
Yeah,
people
true,
always
true.
the memes with Kanye West, the Senya Kanye. So.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
good one.
So yeah, you're
Wow.
you're not gonna remember. Not going to forget that character very easily.
I haven't seen that one. I've seen a decent amount of KyoAni stuff, but that one is just one I haven't really
Oh, I
gotten
mean,
around to yet.
I think that if I watched it today, because I did watch it 2 years ago, I gave it a 9 2 years ago. I think I probably would only give it an 8 today because I wasn't too affected by episodic animes back then, and then the episodes can also be a bit episodic because every single episode is essentially building a different part of the park and having to like unlock it by some sort of task or something. That's essentially how the anime goes. It's another anime that I kind of wish had a season 2 because now they had like this working agreement with like the mall, and I kind of wanted to see how the park would continue to evolve, but sadly we never got a second season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, they recently gave Hibike Euphonium a second season. Although I think that one was a much more successful anime from the get-go. So
Yeah, that's pretty like popular.
I honestly like either Amagi Brilliant Park had already finished by the time I really got into anime, or it was still really new at the time. So I never really saw how well that one did as it aired.
Yeah, but the thing is about it's hard about saying like, okay, how is something popular? I mean, they only care about the popularity in Japan, and it's kind of hard to figure out the popularity of Japan because I don't think any of us are from Japan here. So, but on my anime list, Amagi Brilliant Park's popularity is at 190.
Yeah, pretty much anything KyoAni does is gonna instantly get a good amount of popularity. A lot of people like that studio a lot.
There's ways to see what they think in like Japan, but really most people don't check that way.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at like BD DVD sales, and there might be a way to see like the airing number or the what's it called, the
ratings,
the broadcast ratings or whatever. Yeah, but
it just takes a lot of research. That's kind of hard to accumulate all those numbers.
Yeah, it's also boring.
Yeah. All right, you got anything you want to bring up, Winfred?
Yeah, what for me heartwarming is like character growth. Is if like a character is really shy and tries to overcome that, or multiple characters trying to make one project and working on it and growing while they making that project.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, if not mentioning recommendations, one of the heartwarming for me was Kimi ni Todoke, for example, which basically is a really shy girl, which with help of newly made friends, she gains like more self-confidence. And yeah, I had in my opinion good recommendations overall, like new game, which has a really good sense of accomplishment when it's finished.
I gotta give props. Like, new game for the most part is just like a slightly better than average, like, cute girls doing cute things kind of anime. However, I loved the finale of that anime. I think that's one of the best finales of an anime in that kind of genre that I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, me too. It's like
without spoiling, like what do they do?
Well, they make a game. They work at a game development company. The primary cast is involved in more of the like on the graphics end of things, or graphics and animation. Although there's a couple that do other things as well. But and it's basically like a cute slice of life about, you know, their lives and their time at work and the development of the game. There's some stress in, like, you know, meeting deadlines and things like that. But I'm not gonna say what exactly happens in the finale, but I think it was a very good way to end it. Like, it felt like a real ending instead of just a trail off, you know, leave you hanging for what happens next kind of thing that a lot of those do.
Yeah, what also really helps is that you have a main character. Yeah, it's a little bit spoilery, but yeah, she just joins that company at episode 1, so it's you get basically the explanations for everything, because yeah, the main character needs to know those things too. Yeah, the other shows that I got were really cheery and fun and had humor, mostly.
Okay, so I think this is perfect segue to actually go into talking about Shirobako, since we just talked about New Game, which essentially kind of ends the same way, because...
Yeah, Shirobako, I also got that from a recommendation, funnily enough.
Yeah, so Shirobako essentially ends the same way because they're making anime, so you see like the entire process of making anime and the stresses of being a, you know, one of the art directors, or being someone that, you know, does finishing touches, like independent workers. There's a lot of independent workers in the anime industry that help out. So that's definitely another show that would, if you like New Game, you'll definitely like Shirobako. And it's honestly like one of the only shows from PA Works that I've actually liked.
I mean, I've heard pretty much only positive things about that one. Haven't seen it yet, but I know that there are a few anime that kind of delve into the world of like anime production, and honestly, most of them that I know of are pretty along the lines of being like relatively happy anime. Like you've got Soragase, which is all about the voice acting, as well as Girlish Number, which maybe isn't quite to that level, but it's still mostly
Girlish
happy.
Number, happy, heartwarming. No,
It
I don't
has
see
moments. It has moments, but certainly
not with that main
granted, I haven't
character.
finished
Not
it.
with that main character. It cannot be happy, heartwarming with such a sarcastic bitch of a character.
Have you continued watching that one by chance?
Yes, I have one more episode left.
Okay.
So
I'm still behind like 2 of them, and it's certainly in an arc that isn't happy, heartwarming. But I mean, I wouldn't say it's completely devoid of that sort of idea. But yeah, I would say that there are others that definitely embody that more, especially like probably Shirobako, I would imagine, as well as Soragaseyu. And I know there's another, I just can't remember. But
I think there's a fair few of like creating a game or manga or anime or anything like that.
yeah, those kind of like meta creation anime are always pretty fun to watch.
Well, what I really liked about Shirobako is they don't show you just one angle. They show you like every little thing about the production and what needs to be done to make it all happen. I also like the characters of that show because they were, even the side characters were far more complex than I imagined it to be.
yeah, here we go again. I'm talking about another anime that I would appreciate if it got a season 2. Same old story every time again.
Although, did it get a good enough ending to
Oh,
not
absolutely, but not enough to get a 10 out of 10, and that's what I was going to go into. I gave it a 9 out of 10 because the thing is that there wasn't actually a lot of focus on 3 out of the 5 main characters, and I would appreciate in like a second season to actually go into other parts of the anime production and actually give them more character development. I think that probably would make it a 10 out of 10 anime for me.
Yeah, I can see your point here, but if it doesn't get the season 2 like ever, I will be still satisfied with it because it had a great ending, and like the halfway through it had also a great great midway part ending.
Speaking of like when it comes to like the anime industry and stuff like that, how do you guys feel about sort of all the, like, if you keep up with seasonal stuff at all, or at least newer anime, how do you feel about these kind of anime in the industry now and where it's going? Because I know a lot of people complain about oversaturation of like the cute girls doing cute things type stuff, and that embodies a lot of what is happy anime nowadays. There are obviously exceptions, but I know there are some that complain about where that's headed.
Yeah, and I kind of understand a little bit because like having a serious anime is like why you need happy anime. Like that's the reason why happy anime was beginning to get popular in the first place.
I actually agree with this. As somebody who watches basically primarily action anime, I think that it's good to use happy and heartwarming kinds of anime as wind down anime. So instead of jumping from serious to serious, it's good to mix it to not oversaturate the action.
Okay, but I'm going to put this in this perspective for all you. Wouldn't you think that if there is more happy, heartwarming anime, that actually puts more emphasis on the serious animes that are created, that you actually like look at them more as, being distinct, being unique? So don't you think that actually works in their favor?
No,
Maybe.
yeah.
Well, I think so. Yeah, like when you're not oversaturated with one type of thing, it kind of helps both in a way.
But if it's balanced, then would that actually be a detriment to both of them?
I actually know where you're coming from here, Kevin. It's like if you have oversaturation and you get so used to seeing something that when something extraordinary pops out and it feels completely different, it amplifies the greatness of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, so like for people who like happy and heartwarming anime, yay, you get more of that. And the people who like serious get a little bit forced to go to certain animes. But that also means that's probably more focus on those animes. Then like happy animes are what they do on the side, I feel.
I also feel like for a lot of people, even though that might not technically be the goal for it, like a really easy way to really get that kind of attachment to an anime is just having like strong romance. Like I don't know if any of the ones we really talked about specifically have a lot of romance in them, but I know that's a big ticket, at least for me, to really love a story. Is strong.
Well,
love story.
that's something that's also rare, is actually having true romance in an anime. I mean, even Bakura wa Mina doesn't really develop much of a romantic couple. So, and that's something that I would put in happy, heartwarming.
Well, I talked about Kimi ni Todoke in the beginning of this recording.
Right.
And first season was like more focused on her making friends, and the second season was more like the main couple getting together. But it felt so rushed at that point for me.
I didn't even realize this one had a second season. Oh dang! I haven't seen the first, but I didn't even know it had more than that.
Wait, what are we talking
Yeah,
about?
it has 2 seasons, and yeah, I would say the first season has like the primary focus was like her getting out of her shell a little bit more, and yeah, the second season was like those two getting together, and it was really it was a little bit heartwarming to watch, but it felt also a little bit rushed because yeah, they tried so hard to like get them together, but they didn't think it all through. And when you have like 12 episodes, I believe it was, they're like, yeah, but when we do it now, what are we going to do at the second half of the season? So they kept like postponing like the romancy bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like more anime that doesn't delay the relationship. There have been a few recently that come to mind that don't, but it does feel like when romance anime comes up, more often than not, if you actually see the relationship truly happen, it's not until the very end.
Yeah,
and that's always kind of sad.
You never really get to see them as a couple.
Mm-hmm. That's why like. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, that's indeed that's why I like Oro Monogatari.
Yeah.
Really.
That was one of the ones I was about to bring up.
Yeah, because spoilers. They hook up at like the first episode.
No,
it's
I
not
think
the
it's
first.
the
I won't say what episode, but it's very early.
Very, very, very early, and they like to show the relationship after like the confessing, because most anime have like the confession and then that's the end of the whole story. There's still anime like in this genre that I really like that way, but it's also nice to see like anime that are different.
It's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
All right, so I think I have an interesting topic to bring up, and I think it's like what exactly is the definition of happy? Because I think a lot of people, when I was looking at the exchanges, used, and this somewhat for me too, is that we kind of use comedy as a replacement for happiness.
Comedy can be happiness.
It can be
Comedy
happiness,
stems from the chemical
but
released
it
from
also
happiness.
can be an entire detriment because of how subjective comedy is.
That's true.
Because I was given Daily Lives of High School Boys, if any of you have watched that anime. Or Danashi
No.
Kokoshi no Nishiju.
Yeah, I kind of see what you get there. I got Konosuba, and that is really a comedy show. Uh, it was nice to have that one in contrast with the other ones, because the other ones were a little bit more episodic, slice of lifey, and then you have the little bit comedy mixed in, and yeah.
That one's a good example to bring up for me too, because like I haven't seen it all yet, but I like the humor style of the one Hib was talking about, Day Life High School Boys. But obviously that kind of humor doesn't resonate with him. Whereas something like Konosuba, I got really bored of its humor after a while. Like four episodes in or so, I'm like, I don't care anymore. Whereas I think you really like that one, right, Hibbington?
I mean, I didn't really like it. I mean, it's the comedy that kept me going with the show because I didn't felt that it didn't have enough progression to it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely prefer the comedy in Konosuba over Danshi because Danshi's humor just reminds me of Drifters that we're probably going to be talking about in the next podcast, and we'll have a whole lot of fun talking about Drifters over there. I'll tell you that much.
But on the question you asked, what do we see as the happy anime, so to speak? From what I recommended, I don't remember exactly what I thought, but it was on the lines of, are the main thing in the anime that they are happy? Do they make you feel happy? Then there can be like a sub thing that there's comedy, but they're like, it has to try to make you happy or something like that.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, everyone, the feeling of happiness is pretty, I think everyone kind of feels relatively the same way when they're happy. But what makes a person happy is kind of subjective to a certain extent. Like, the recommendations Jonas gave me for this month, multiple of them, or at least two of them, were very focused on like the parenting kind of thing. Because he gave me both Usagi Drop and I think he gave me Barakamon.
Okay,
I can't remember.
But here's the thing: what exactly stemmed from that happiness, though? Was it that's because like you're wanting to be a father figure, or was that because there was some sort of accomplish at the end of the show?
Well, yeah, it's because the story itself, like, you know, granted, I've only watched one of them, so I can't speak for the other one. But for the most part, for me, it has to do with the fact that the story focuses on, like, raising I mean, this isn't the only thing that makes me happy, obviously, but for those ones in particular, it's about raising that child, you know, watching them grow up and, you know, learn their lessons, and, you know, watching the parent kind of struggle but yet be rewarded in you know, raising their child and living with them and experiencing and making memories and all that jazz. When it comes to the end, though, yeah, like, having a nice payoff at the end certainly is a plus. That's what made me give Amaama an 8 instead of a 9, because the ending sort of just felt like another episode. Whereas Usagi Drop had a relatively nice wrap-up.
How I saw it was like, could you watch this while feeling down to make yourself be happy? And that's how I chose mine. Or like,
Yeah.
calm down. Both.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely could be another way of looking at it. I mean, I've had depression for about 11 on off for 11 plus years, so I do understand that part.
That's sort of why I've gravitated more to those kind of anime recently. I mean, it's still like serious, you know, more dramatic, intense plots, but my favorites recently have all sort of been more on the happy side, because, you know, life can be stressful sometimes, and it's nice to have a calm, happy story to sort of just unwind and be like, yeah, everything's good. The world can be a happy place after all.
While we are on the topic, do you guys think that a heartbreaking anime can be heartwarming as well? Because I also saw in the recommendations, I saw many heartbreaking anime, and I had a little bit difficulty recommending also, because most of my heartwarming anime that I on that list were really heartbreaking as well.
I think that kind of depends on where the heartbreaking part happens and if it recovers back to a heartwarming.
Yeah, this goes back to the sense of accomplishment of the anime.
Yeah. If it happens right at the end of the anime, the heartbreaking moment that is, then it's gonna stay heartbroken.
I think for those kind of anime, it really clinches on the end. Like if the end is just far too bitter, then it doesn't feel as heartwarming as something that has a lot of, heartbreak and bitterness in the build-up, but then comes to a very nice conclusion.
I mean, we could go through 11 episodes of death and loss, and then that 12th episode could be the two surviving people forming a relationship. That is enough to make it heartwarming, really.
I don't know if I would agree with that. I mean, if you see 10 people die, and it's like, oh, we're the last two left, yay! That's not really heartwarming.
I don't mean the anime. I kind of mean the ending.
I'd say 2 decapitated heads, and then now we have a relationship. That's not heartwarming to me.
The show that I would like to mention really with this is like Angel Beats, because it ends in the freaking sad way, but then also has like a really hopeful ending.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Although for me personally, I think that in Angel Beats' case, it sort of comes out of nowhere. Like, it's very emotional, and yes, it's heartwarming, but I would have liked it to be kind of like clued in on a little more. But I guess like with Angel Beats' case, that one it apparently got stunted in episode count. It was supposed to be longer than it ended up being, so I guess that's probably why.
Yeah, they tried to do so much in 13 episodes.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the same with Plastic Memories, having a build-up of heartwarming episodes until the end, where it like punches you in the face.
I mean, they try to make it happy at least.
the difference between this and Angel Beats, I think, is you already know what is going to happen in the first episode.
Yeah.
So you're really waiting for the build-up until that heartbreaking moment. As in Angel Beats, you don't really know what's going to happen.
There was when you mentioned that, when you brought that up, there was the first one that came to my mind, like heartbreaking that can also be heartwarming, was Full Moon wo Sagashite, or like I think the English name is Searching for a Full Moon. It's an older one from like 2002, I think, maybe 2000 even. That is by far probably the most like simultaneously heartbreaking and heartwarming anime I've ever seen, because it's about a girl, like a 12-year-old girl who's like going to die in a year from throat cancer. Like, that's established in the first episode. Shinigami come to visit her because it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna take you away to your death in a year, and it's about
That's
like
a big troll.
it's about her trying to go through her dream of becoming she wants to become a singer because there was someone that she like fell in love with when she was younger, and she wants to get his attention again because he moved away to America. So the story evolves from there, but holy crap, that anime like destroys your heart, but then like also uplifts it so many times over and over again. And I do think it had an ending that was really nice as well. And like I always end up recommending that anime to a lot of people, even ones that I don't know if they'll actually enjoy it or not, simply because it was so shockingly good compared to what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, but you just can't call that happy, heartwarming. Anytime there's cancer involved, I mean, that's a very depressing subject.
It is, but but that's kind of why I brought it up when that point came up, because you can have both at the same time and have something that ultimately ends on a good note, depending on exactly where it goes and what it does.
Which I would there's anime, but I also would like to mention in this Clannad, not Clannad After Story, because that one is depressing as shit. No, the first season of Clannad. It has some heartbreaking moments, but it's built up with such heartwarming moments, in my opinion, that it outweighs the depressing parts of the first season.
I think this is the hard part with this non-genre of happy heartwarming. There's so much that can go into it.
It's really subjective.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, and I think that's why I probably benefited from someone who knows my taste relatively well. I'm pretty confident in my recommendations that I will like them. But I would like to think that,
I wish I would get that lucky.
People, yeah, I'm sorry. I felt really bad when I heard that. I especially you. I know that the past few months you haven't gotten the best one.
No,
so
I've not.
I'm really hoping next time you get a partner that gives you something good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the last time I've written a positive review.
Well, I mean, I don't know. We're gonna have to start voting on the theme pretty soon here, but
yeah.
Hopefully it ends up being.
You're
something
saying that, but it'll probably be me, and he's gonna be like depressed.
I think you could probably do something good, Stennis. Although I also think that, maybe not. We'll see.
I was really lucky when I got my recommendations. He really did. The guy that recommended me things had a really good idea of what my taste was.
I mean, I don't really know how you could research someone to know that they don't like episodic shows. I'm not sure how you could do that. So
Hey, yo, do you like episodic shows? Nah, man.
I don't like episodic shows. But here's another interesting topic I think we should talk about. That another thing that comes up with Happy Heartwarming is endings that are too happy-go-lucky. I think that one of the shows that suffered from that was Golden Time a couple years ago.
I remember.
Oh no, I disagree so much. Holy crap! Oh, the ending of that was so
we're
good.
gonna get some drama
that
here.
anime.
Yes.
I really like that ending too.
I do understand where you're coming from. Like, it is a very dramatic anime. I personally wouldn't call it a melodrama. I know you would, but I think that most of the drama is pretty warranted. However,
I didn't say it's melodrama. I just said the
I thought I remember you saying once it was.
No, I think you're mixing me up with someone else. I gave the show a 9.
Oh.
I would have given it a 10 if it wasn't so happy-go-lucky ending. That's the problem with the show.
What do you mean by happy-go-lucky ending? Do you mean there's no bad thing happening?
It's like,
in the ending?
yeah, exactly. It's like they just flipped the switch to like 0 to 100 in like 2 seconds, and it's just like, wait, what? What?
Wait.
Really?
Yeah.
You're just gonna we always have to end with a smile. Yay! Wee! It's like, no, come on. You got.
I personally
Be more
have
unique
no
than that.
problems with it.
I can see why people would. I'm not completely ignoring all the fault. There's certainly faults in that anime. I mean, ending aside, the whole, I don't want to get too much into spoiler territory, but Bonnery's whole thing, there's a lot of problems with his story. But as far as the ending goes, I get it. I get why some people might think it's a little too happy heartwarming, but I got far too attached to those characters to end the story to nitpick that too much. And I think that kind of is maybe where some people differ on anime like these. A lot of it probably depends on how willing to, or how...
I think it depends on the build-up. Is that where you're gonna go to?
Yeah,
the build-up.
Yeah, so what you mean is there has... No, not has to be, but it should be a build-up to the ending.
There should be a better progression to it, not just flipping a switch to 0 to 100 right at the end. It's like, okay, yeah, everything's fine now. It's like, what? Well, we just had this, and this, and this. And now you're just going to say this?
If they paced the last episode differently, I think it could have been a lot better. But,
I think...
But yeah.
Most anime doesn't have this problem, really. Because it's either they don't have any progression that they have to answer, or...
Yeah, but this was a definitive end in Golden Time.
Yeah, but, like, except for Golden Time, I don't know. I can't come up with...
Well, that's just another issue in anime, that we never get a lot of endings.
Oh, God. I'm a Madhouse fan.
I'm going to be careful. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and then, like, the same I hear I heard people like complaining about the Planet After Story ending because it was too happy-go-lucky. But the build-up, I've read the visual novel, right? So in the visual novel, without going too much into spoiler territory, you have to have accomplished something in the visual novel, and you have proper build up, and you have to have done certain things to make it happen. You don't have that in the anime. So what you see is like indeed the flip switch. And some people are like, yeah, but that's not really satisfying.
I wouldn't exactly call this one a happy, heartwarming anime, and I'm gonna be careful with what I say because this is a newly finished anime, so I don't want to spoil it for people. But
What anime?
I had a little bit of a problem with like a slight, I don't know if I would call it a Deus Ex Machina, but a slight kind of forcing a happy ending out of nowhere from Shuumatsu no Izetta.
Oh,
I'm not going to say exactly how it happens, but I think that
Yes.
I think that ending should have been a little more depressing than it
God.
was.
No, it's not depressing at all. It wasn't depressing at all, and we'll get more into that when we get to the seasonal.
Yeah.
When we can actually talk about the spoilers, right? I mean,
A little bit. I
We're
would
gonna
like to still be a little spoiler free.
we can't. You
there'll be
can't.
more, okay.
We can't really talk about seasonal shows without saying the endings. I mean, it's just gonna have to happen. You just gotta you just gotta put a warning on people that if they want to attend, you're probably gonna get a couple spoilers here and there. I mean, you're probably gonna talk about Flip Flappers. I didn't watch Flip Flappers. I'm gonna be in it anyways. If you say spoilers about Flip Flappers, that's fine with me. So
yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's an example of one recently that I felt probably pulled that card a little too willingly. I don't know how to say it.
It's not willingly, and it wasn't even the 1 to 100. It's just like it's more like a letdown card. And when you have a show that was kind of being a letdown the entire season, like it started getting lower and lower and lower. Like I started at okay, this show might be like an 8 out of 10 show at least, and it's just more and more happened. It's like, okay, lowering, and then like the one thing you had to do, you go back on that. You go back on it, and it's like, okay, well, now I gotta lower it even more. So I ended up giving like a 6 out of 10, I believe. Maybe I should have given it a 5, but I gave it a 6.
Right. But yeah, we'll save more of that for when we talk about the seasonal stuff.
Going back to what was it? Kimi no Todoke.
Yeah.
The main female character in that, and other main female characters, and maybe male characters. You talked about how seeing that shy person sort of being forced out of their comfort zone as something that you think is happy and heartwarming. I've been thinking about it since you said it, and I can't figure out
Yeah,
what exactly
what I really
invokes the feeling.
find heartwarming is like the growing of a character, and it really in my opinion, it really portrays well in that show. Especially, in this case, it's like a shy person getting out of their comfort zone, but
what about
also
that is happy and heartwarming, is what I'm trying to get at.
Well, a little bit. I think it's a little bit of the accomplishment when the main character finally does come out of her shell and makes friends. Those are, for me, the most heartwarming parts of the anime.
Mm-hmm. When you've got it, like, to put it very simply, kind of like a success story, you know, like whether personal or otherwise. It's nice to see a character accomplish what they want or get past an obstacle that they've been trying to deal with. That always makes for really.
Okay. So who here does like episodic shows?
I don't mind.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
I don't mind.
Who here has watched Non Biyori?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Just
Really? Wow. Everyone has not watched Non Biyori.
I'm sure I will love the shit out of it, but
most likely will. Okay. Because I use Non Biyori as kind of my example when I talk about like middle of the road episodic shows that I too tend to like. Even though like half the episode I don't care about because of course it's the episodic issue, but because we talk about sense of accomplishment like a lot of other things like we've been talking about, that sense of accomplishment at the end of Non Biyori essentially like being that it is okay to live in the sticks. The show that I watched with high school, daily lives of high school boys, there was no sense of accomplishment at the end of that show. So do you think that a sense of accomplishment at the end of episodic shows is a necessity?
For it to be happy or heartwarming?
Well, just like, you know,
just to be enjoyable
in general.
I don't think so, really. Yeah, it's coming from a person who watches like Slice of Life. This is one of his favorite genres, but I don't think it really needs one. Just if the day-to-day life of the characters are interesting enough for me, then it doesn't need to really have a sense of accomplishment at the end.
I think it can be the cherry on top. Like, going back to two shows we brought up before, I think that the fact that Amaama's finale was a little underwhelming for me, like, it just sort of felt like another episode, all things considered.
It felt like a special,
that's what kept it from
normal episode, though.
That's, well, sure, but that's what kept it from, like, being a 9 out of 10 and then brought it down to, like, 8 out of 10.
After this month, will you continue to watch happy, heartwarming anime? Or was it, like, not your bag?
Oh, absolutely. I was so excited when this won the poll, because I've been looking forward to this one for a very long time. I love these kind of anime, so...
No, I mean, I mean, like I said, I have depression for 11 plus years. If I just watch all serious anime, you'll probably just see me curled up in a ball or something in the corner of the room.
Yeah. You always need some happy anime to keep you on your feet.
Well, this month was just in time for me because I was really irritated at the beginning of the month for various reasons. And that kept going on for like a week or something, and then I started watching those happy heartwarming anime, starting with Konosuba, and I cheered up immediately. So yeah, it was a good month for me.
It was a good way to end the year. You know, this is supposed to be at least a happy time of year for people with the holidays and all. And it was a good way. I think it was a good way. Well, except for the people that didn't get something they enjoyed, like Hibbington. In general, it's a good way to go out.
Yeah, it
puts a smile on everyone's face.
It also helped me with my test week, not stressing. Like, I was stressed out, but then I sat down and just calmed down.
Alright, I have one thing to say, and that is that we need to remember that Mugi is the best grill.
Yep. I'm totally gonna edit that out. Not really.
Totally not going anywhere.
Well, I will wrap this up with wishing everyone a happy New Year and and a Merry Christmas. I don't know when
or happy
this will be
holidays if you're
uploaded.
American.
I think it's gonna take Mystic more than 4 days to edit this. So.
Okay, I will wrap it up with this. I hope you had a Merry Christmas and I hope you have a happy a happy New Year.
All right. Well,
a good 2017, everyone.
Yeah. All right.
You'll have to repeat that in English.
And
that about does it.
Yeah.
As he said, hope everyone had a happy year, has a happy holiday, watches good anime that isn't trashed here. Blah blah blah. All right, so I guess that's about it. We'll see you all next time.
Next time
on Anime Alliance.